Hey everyone, today I've got a special treat. I've got Matt Woodward from mattwoodward.co.uk, literally world famous SEO online marketing guy, and he's got some incredible tips. Matt, how you doing today?
Hey, thanks. Thanks for the intro. Thanks for having me on. It's been a morning of firefighting, so I'm glad to find a bit of peace and calm to just breathe and speak for a moment.
Yeah, man, and we'll just chat. I know you're in Costa Rica right now, so maybe we'll chat about some travel stories, places to hit up in Costa Rica.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, man. So this life that we live is really pretty amazing. Like we can pretty well pick where we work. You said you've been in Costa Rica for years right before the interview.
Seven, 8 years, yeah.
That's awesome, dude. So how
Mhm.
did you go from being able to, or how did you go from kind of the normal life of, I've read you had a job, like you were in the corporate world at one point, to being able to work and live anywhere, even from Costa Rica in a pandemic?
Okay, so I was always had, I guess you call it the entrepreneur spirit. I was always trying to find a hustle. Um, I've done everything from knocking on your door to wash your car, to selling Pokemon cards, to door-to-door karate sales we did at one time. That was great. You got £20 commission. All you had to do was knock on the door and convince someone to sign up for 8 free karate lessons. And if I did that, I got 20 quid,
That's
which is like
awesome.
30 bucks. Like, do you want 8 free karate lessons? Yes. Good.
No lose deal.
Yeah, right. Um, so I was always kind of doing those kind of things. Yeah, found myself in the corporate world. Um, this was kind of when people were like, if they thought they'd put credit card details into a website, they'd like die, they'd catch a virus and die or something. Like people were kind of just getting into the world of e-commerce. Um, Amazon was just launching. There was a few other things going on. So um, the corporate world then was, and probably still is, very frustrating if you're working online, because online's very fast and fluid and corporate's very structured and rigid. So quite often what you find is where smaller companies, more agile companies, could outperform the corporates with bigger budgets, and we still see that to this day. um, while I was doing corporate, I was building my own affiliate sites on the side. Digital marketing was really just coming together. And over a number of years, I eventually launched my first affiliate site. And my first affiliate site, or my first real affiliate site, where I was like, yeah, this is it. You might remember way back when, the free iPod craze, and you could like refer 5 friends and get a free iPod kind of thing. So I did that, and I was ranking for everything free iPod. In fact, I was on page 1 for iPod for a short period of time. So that was profitable. I did a deal with a network where, you'd do like 5 referrals and get a free iPod, but I did it on a cash basis. I said, well, let's just do cash, and they paid me £22 a referral. Back then, what was a referral? A referral was getting you to sign up to Love Film, which was a DVD rental by post service. So you got free DVD rentals for 2 weeks at zero cost, and I made 22 quid. It was absolutely phenomenal.
You probably
Um,
signed me up at one point.
yeah, maybe. And then if that wasn't good enough, they started adding video games into the rentals, and it was like, oh yeah, get 2 weeks of free video game rentals for nothing, and people like, sign up. I'm like, great, absolutely fantastic. So that all gave me the foundation to jump from corporate to just following my passion, so to speak, and doing what I want to do full time. So that journey, all of that took about 15 years, from the day I started knocking on doors and washing cars, to taking a leap and going full time. So it's been an interesting journey along the way, that's for sure.
You mentioned following your passions. What were the passions that kind of motivated you to keep up these side hustles while you were in your corporate job?
um I just like it. it's not like I just like playing with websites, you know. I built my first website before Google existed, before YouTube existed. In fact, I built my first video sharing website before YouTube existed for competitive video gaming in the dawn of esports, for people to share their highlight videos, right? Wouldn't have YouTube. Unfortunately, I think I was like 12 then, and I had a paper round to pay for the server and lacked the vision to build YouTube.
Nice.
But that was like late 90s, early 2000s, something like that. So in terms of following your passion, I've naturally always had a passion for anything web, internet. I was always interested in sales and business. It was just kind of naturally there. And I guess late 90s, early 2000s, all of those interests converged into the internet and digital commerce, right? So for me, I'm just playing Super Mario here. Like, I'm following my passion. I'm just, jumping and hitting boxes and collecting all the coins. And sometimes I go down the pipe and I die. And, sometimes I come up and everything's great. So, that following the passion is very important. My dad said you have to find what you love in life and then find a way to make money at it. There's professional yo-yo artists in the world, there's like world champion yo-yo artists that make tons of money. So you can do whatever you want in this life. You just got to decide and do it. And for me, following my passion led me to where we are today. Digital marketing, SEO, algorithms, that kind of thing all gets me going.
For someone who's getting started in entrepreneurship and say online marketing, do you tend to recommend that they follow their passions? Because I often have the opposite recommendation. It's find a market need and then get passionate about success and get passionate about solving people's needs.
Yes.
So what's your advice?
That I would definitely recommend that, but the layer before that should be writing a list of 3 things that you like, 3 things that you're good at, and 3 things you want to learn more about. Then with those 9 things, then go and look where you can solve problems, because you're going to have you're going to be attached to it personally. You're going to have that natural interest in it. And look, being an entrepreneur is hard work. You're going to have to break through multiple brick walls. There's going to be time you sat like absolutely in despair of what to do. Quite often, the passion for the subject is what drives you through. So that's the right way to approach whatever business you're doing, online or offline. I think you've got to have some kind of emotional attachment or interest to what you're driving.
Interesting. Yeah. And I think that's a really good balance of, people who say, oh, just follow your passion. You live in a town with 5 coffee shops in a mile radius, go ahead and start another one. Like, okay, yeah, probably not that. But then I think what you said is also a really good balance of figuring out what does the market actually need and what can I see myself doing in the future? Because often I feel like with the advice that I give people, no, you got to find a market need first. It can be difficult to get people passionate and inspired about that, which really just leads to burnout.
Yeah. And, when you're at that stage of planning the business, one of the most underutilized things in the world for me is power of observation. Just sit back, look, watch, listen. Especially in the SEO world, or even in digital marketing in general, we're often distracted by big data and numbers and this, that, and the other. And it's hard. It's easy to become disconnected that, oh, I had 1,000 visitors today. Well, that's 1,000 people that came through your door. If all 1,000 of those people were stood in front of you right now, you'd feel that pressure. But when you're in Google Analytics, it's like 1,000 people. Yeah. It's easy to get that disconnect. So it's very, very important that you stay connected to the heart and soul of the business. First with the people, but then just observing what happens. What do people do? Why do they do it? Why did they go to that store? Why don't they go to that store? Why did they buy that product? Why don't they buy that product? Just observing. The same in Google search results. You can learn an awful lot. You don't need expensive tools or subscriptions or services. If you look at Google search results, that's an output of the algorithm. That is literally Google saying, this is what we want. Google are telling you what they want. And just with the power of observation, you can usually come up with something that deserves to be among that top 5. I think that's a highly underutilized skill by entrepreneurs and people in general. Just being quiet, taking a step back and observing, learning from other people. No need to learn lessons the hard way yourself.
Yeah.
So it's an important point many people miss.
So you've mentioned that kind of skill of observation. What other skills would you say are just flat out essential for running an online business nowadays?
Understanding people. Why do people do what they do? Why do they buy? What are the motivations to buy? Are they driven by fear, or are they driven by logic? Who are you selling to? Is it a middle-aged woman, or is it a younger dude? Like, really understanding people, how the brain works, why we make the decisions that we make. Those kind of skills layered on top with even just some very basic sales and marketing techniques will make you deadly in any area. A lot of people go from the other way, right? Like they find the business idea and a passion, and they don't then go to understand people and everything else. So if you can get that basic psychological foundation knowledge laid up with some sales and marketing before you write your business plan, that's a deadly skill to have.
And where would you recommend that people go to kind of learn that? I mean, almost like basics of psychology, human nature. If your kid came to you tomorrow and says, like, "Hey, how do I learn?" What do you say?
Go knock on some doors and offer people to wash cars. You want to learn that? Go do door-to-door sales. That's as cold, as impersonal as you can. Is knocking on someone's front door. Hey, I got something to say. You know what I mean? Like I was lucky that I kind of, I didn't go to university. A lot of my sales lessons came from my dad, who's a very successful car salesman. So in terms of going to learn it, for me, the best way to learn anything is to just get your hands dirty, get in the trenches, take the failures and learn that way, But you can do any Google searches to learn about the psychology of sales, the human decision-making process and things like that if you want quick experience. But there's nothing like going out there and doing it to actually feel it,
Yeah, I think people skills is an underrated skill in the internet age.
Yes.
Like if you can deal well with people in person, then you're gonna do okay online as well. And that really ends up affecting everything about your business.
Yeah, ultimately, the biggest impact on the bottom line on every single business on the planet is emotional decisions by human beings. That is the biggest impact to the bottom line of every single business, because it's a human being that you need to convince to pull the wallet out, grab the credit card, be asked to type it all in, and hit enter, right? That is a process that is created through emotion and emotional triggers and understanding needs, matching those needs to wants, pricing, how you present the product, the customer experience on the site, how you move through everything. It all meshes together. It's all based on influencing that single emotionally based decision to buy. Like I was saying with Google Analytics, we forget that 1,000 people. If you were stood on a stage with 1,000 people in front of you and you were pitching a product to them, you would feel that pressure. But in the digital world, with digital world, we don't feel it, right? And we become disconnected from that. And as a consequence, we become disconnected from the human and then the emotion behind all the decisions and everything like that. So that is really a very important skill, understanding people and what drives the why.
And you've mentioned door-to-door sales is the best way to learn that. I agree with you 100%. So my start in entrepreneurship began when I was doing insurance sales, and not door-to-door, but it was like, hey, here's a phone book, start dialing.
Right.
It sucked.
Yeah.
It sucked.
Yeah.
But there was this huge learning curve for me of how do you actually communicate in a way that people understand, and
Hmm.
start looking outside of your own needs, and
Hmm.
figuring out what do other people need? Like how do you
Hmm.
listen to other people and then target your message towards what's meaningful to them
Yes, of course. Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
life changing.
Yeah,
So
I
would
mean,
you
if anyone's
recommend?
listening with a business right now, go pull the phone book out and start calling, right? Like, go get the experience. You're probably going to get 100 no's before you get a yes, but that's how you learn, you know. Colonel Sanders, didn't he get like 4,000 no's to his KFC recipe before
Something
someone said yes?
ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, he got
Yeah.
told no 4,000 times, but he wasn't calling people. He was going to people. They were saying no to his face, you know,
Yeah.
like, so yeah, it's a great way to learn. Just get your hands dirty. Don't be scared. The worst that's going to happen is someone says no, which is way worse than having no response, you know, and not even doing it.
Mm. So is there anyone who's starting out, any business model where you would say, no, you for sure shouldn't get experience by going into sales or by communicating one-on-one with people?
Um, there's so many broad strokes to business, right? And usually when people are starting a business, it's because they have the technical skill to do the job, combined with a bit of entrepreneurial spirit, right? So then they go from being the person doing the job to also being the person doing the job and managing the business, right? So in some cases, it may benefit you to hire someone to take charge of sales and marketing rather than you go out and learn it all the hard way. You know, you got to play to your strengths. For me, I'm not going to do that because I'll sell ice to an Eskimo, you know. Like, I'm not going to have a problem doing that. But for some people, it's an absolutely daunting task and out of reach. Some people just don't have the ability to talk to people freely. It's terrifying. You know, if you're super introverted, it can be very difficult. It can also be your benefit because you're able to listen more and you're able to match needs better. Um, so you got to play to your skills. Really, there's not a blanket yes, no, do this, do that answer to a question like that. But I think as a business owner, if you're not capable of selling your own product or service, mm, yeah, you might not want to be the business owner because if you own the business and you can't sell the product or service, it's very difficult for a salesman to do it.
Yeah, so you've mentioned, the power of just kind of personal connections in your own business, and that people skill. So what does your current portfolio look like?
In what respect? Like in in business portfolio in
Yeah.
general?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I know you've
Okay.
got your brand site. Like, do you have affiliate sites as well, or what?
Yeah. So we've got a ton of affiliate sites, mostly rooted in, without giving my niches away, movements.
Yeah, no. Gotcha.
Okay, most in movements where groups of people believe the same thing,
Hmm.
right? So affiliate sites there previously had a lot of price comparison stuff. Don't do so much of that anymore. Got out of that. There's the Matthew Woodward blog that most people know. An SEO agency, Search Logistics. We take full control of everything SEO top to bottom. We have a link building service, links.rank.com, for those that only want link building. And then a few offline in investments, a couple of properties, playing Monopoly. You can't beat money in bricks and mortar. It provides a nice stable income, and if you buy the right house, it's always easy to convert into liquid when you need to. So stocks and shares. Thank you, Elon Musk. He's contributed about 80% of the value of a house we recently closed on. Yeah. I got out at 1900. And then it went up to 2,500, so I got out a little bit early.
Oof.
Weird, stocks and shares, you can make a huge profit and still be pissed off. Really weird, isn't it? I'm like, God damn it, if I just waited another 2 weeks, I'd have walked away with double the amount of money. But, well, double the amount of profit. But
Yeah.
you know, I was pissed off. I took a huge profit. Weird. So so yeah, I got lots of things going on, but all of these things all root back into just my core passion of being an entrepreneur and doing things, right? Like every single one of these is rooted in business in one way or another. It all ties back to having a keen interest in marketing, sales, financials, and everything like that. So you know, in terms of portfolio, I'm a very busy boy.
That's what it sounds like. How do you organize your life in a way where you've got your own brand site, you've got a bunch of these affiliate sites, sounds like. I know you've got a family and you mentioned a young kid.
Yeah. We got a little one. It'll be 2 years in a month from now. And just great team, great processes, support systems. Yeah, you know, everything that you can do can be broken down into a series, either a single process or a series of processes, right? So it's just a case of documenting those and constantly replacing yourself, so to speak. If you were to draw an organization chart, you know, and you've got like CEO, sales director, operations director, blah, 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 you know, customer service director, blah, blah, you would probably find the average entrepreneur is filling 3, 4, or 5 of those positions. So it's important that, first of all, you understand that you're doing that, and that you can make the separation between operations and sales and customer service, and they're all 3 different things that can all be done by different people. And then, you know, writing out what it is you do and writing out those processes. Very simple. We do it in Google Docs. We have a Google Sheet that lists every single process in the business, its category, who owns it, when it was last updated, and when it's next due to be updated. So every 6 months, whoever owns a process has to review it and update it. You know, sometimes tools we use change, or the steps change, or a plugin updates and the interface is different, you know, things like that. So every 6 months, whoever owns a process updates it. And whoever owns the process is a person that does the process. So if you're responsible for internal linking optimization, you're also responsible for keeping the process updated. So that's how we do everything. Most stuff's done through Trello. Time management with an app called Hubstaff. It's great, integrates with Trello, really nice. So that keeps everything running relatively smoothly. Electricity and internet is optional here in Costa Rica at times. For example, yesterday I was offline for 6 hours when I really needed to be online because shit was hitting the fan, you know.
Yeah.
So, but you know, once we've got systems and process and everything like that, a great team that you can lean on, things generally tick over pretty well, you know. A lot of entrepreneurs end up backing themselves into a corner where they're working 90 hours a week. And then you're like, oh, by the way, now you need to write, to get out of that, now you need to work an extra 10 hours a week to write processes and hire people, right? It's like, oh, how? But you need to recognize that as you're building your business, that you should be trying to replace yourself in the various positions on your organization chart as quickly as possible. That's the only way to grow.
Yeah, 100% agreed. I think a lot of entrepreneurs fall trapped to believing that they're the most competent person in the organization, which on some level is probably true, you know, like
most of them. Yeah. Because usually the entrepreneurs coming from the technical level, they're the person that used to do the work. They know how to fix cars. They know how to build links. They know how to whatever. They know inside and out, that job inside and out. And the reason they've become an entrepreneur is because they feel they can do it better, right? That is in stark contrast to then hiring people to do it,
right.
which is terrifying, you know. But I always look at it, if my staff make a mistake, it's because I wrote the process wrong. Not because they did it wrong, not because they read it and interpreted it wrong, not because they thought it meant X when it meant Y. It's because I wrote the process wrong and I failed to communicate the right way to do it. Having that ownership of it also saves you lots of frustrations and, you know, anger and all the rest of it, because you take responsibility for everything. Yeah, you know, like the Matthew Woodward blog, right? It's literally called matthewwoodward.co.uk. Like, it's me. But there's a team behind it, you know? So that, I understand the challenges when you got to come away and bring team in to do something personal, because it doesn't get much more personal than that. Yeah. And yeah, it is challenging. But if you want to grow the business, you've got to do it. It's essential. Otherwise, what happens is you end up starting delivering orders late. You customer service, you reply in 3 days, not 2 days, in that one day, you know, and things start slipping in lots of little areas. And quite often you're so close to the business that you don't see those little slips happening. And then lots of small mistakes add up to one big consequence.
It sounds like you've got quite a bit of experience in that. Was learning to build a team a difficult process for you?
Not really, but there are some things that are harder to hand over than others, right? And quite often we allow ego to get in the way of that, and it's important to recognize that it's ego more than logic driving that particular decision, I think, for most people.
Yeah, so I have family members who are quote unquote entrepreneurial, and I can think of one example in particular. Sorry if you can hear this like grrr sound in the background.
No, that's all right.
I'm in Brazil right now, so you're in Costa Rica.
Nice.
I'm in Brazil. Yeah, and probably similar rules to a Costa Rican apartment complex. Construction time.
Go offer him a beer. He'll stop. He'll sit down for a minute.
That's my tactic for the next interview, I guess. Just have a six-pack ready. But yeah, so I have family members who struggle with this, who are quote unquote entrepreneurial, who have their own little business ventures, and they have the belief that they are so competent that they can't hire it out. And what I think that ultimately comes, and then when tasks fail, when they do hire something out and it fails, it's never their fault. You know,
it's the employee's fault.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that responsibility you're talking about is so important to first kind of get out of our own way and say, there is no possible way that I'm the only person on the planet who can do this job.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then second, if I'm training someone and they fail, I need to take responsibility for that, or this team's not going to perform at the level I expect.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's that old saying, right? Like, if you want something doing right, do it yourself. That's bullshit. If you want something doing right, write a good process. That's it. Like that. If you want something doing right, do it yourself. That's just an excuse that pushes blame elsewhere, right? And it's a common saying. No, just write a better process. That's it.
And you said your processes are in Google Docs?
Yeah.
I've had really good results with a tool called Loom, the video recording software. Have you used it?
Well, I actually, within the Google Docs processes, sometimes we do video explainers showing people. So we use, I think, Snagit by Cam TechSmith to do that. It just records and that just, you do the screen grab, you hit one button, it's in Google Drive with a link. We just paste that into the doc.
I found, like, I think of all the times in world history when entrepreneurs have had to outsource some type of labor, it's never been easier than it is now. To find low-cost labor and then teach them how to do a job well. Like, you just record a video.
Yeah. Just sit there, and look. What's funny is the very start of my blog, the Matthew Woodward SEO blog. What made that get off the ground is I was looking at like forums and blogs at the time, and no one was offering anything. It was just like 500-word shit. You know, you read 500 words, you've not actually read anything, kind of thing. And I was looking at all questions in forums, people asking how to do X, Y, and Z. I'm like, I do this every day. Why don't I just press record, put it on YouTube, see what happens? And it was a wild success. I think it made $600 the first month, $4,000 the second month, $6,000 the third month. You know.
Whoa.
And just like recording a process video, that's literally what it was. Like, it's how to do tiered link building. Oh well, this is how I do it. Record, done. You know, so. It is literally just doing what you're doing anyway, but just press record. That's it. It's, it's not
That's an
hard.
amazing start story. And since then, like, you give out a lot of information for free.
Yeah, that gets me in trouble.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because a lot of the time it means people don't need to spend when they do it. For example, a tiered link building, right? We're going back to 2012. I got a lot of hate mail for that because there was other people selling products. So like, you're an idiot. You could have sold this video series for $500. You're losing loads of money. You have no idea what you're doing. La 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 la. Because this is when people weren't creating content for free or stuff. There wasn't like it wasn't a big thing, to put effort into web content then. So when I came along and started doing it, people just said I'm an idiot. I'm like, it's just a screen capture, mate. Like, I'm going to charge $500 for that. Yeah, people got angry with that, and I took that as a good sign, and it got lots of positive response, and we probably wouldn't have this conversation today if we didn't. So I quite like sharing and things that were, of course, I don't give out everything, and there's the specific process we use to win knowledge panels. If you Google Brian Dean right now, he has a knowledge panel. He didn't before. He only has that because I gave it to him through our process. The same
Nice.
with Matt Diggity and things like that. Yeah, that's all reserved for the paid course. But then when I've got discoveries like we did single variable testing on EXIF data in images, the hidden data that you can embed on images. Most image optimization plugins actually strip it out, but I played with the optimization there, and it does have an impact. It is a ranking factor. So I published that and I shared that with everyone. So there's a balance between giving everything out for free and the premium stuff, and then obviously the internal stuff.
Yeah. How do you find that balance between, okay, I'm going to give this out for free, and then this is not free?
I don't know really. It's just in the moment how it's, and also how the moment is in the landscape. Are people talking about this subject a lot? Will it help a lot of people? Is it actually something that if 100 people use, great, but if it went public and 10,000 people used it, it would kill it. For example, I published how to get links on Wikipedia, and I was very specific about the right way to do it to avoid being labeled as a spammer and everything else. And of course, no one went to the effort. They all did the bare minimum. They all got labeled as a spammer, and they also got my site labeled as a spamming site. So, things like that I'm not going to put in public anymore because SEO's just abused it and it actually hurt me. I'm not in business for that. I want to elevate people and likewise, so that's why the knowledge panel tutorial and the specific process of how you win that for any term you want is behind closed doors. Because if it got out and then it got mass spammed, it wouldn't work anymore. And we use that in a number of ways for our benefit. So kind of drawing the line on where things are. It's on a case-by-case basis, really.
Yeah, and I think one thing that people don't realize about paid courses a lot of times is that a lot of times, you probably can find the info that's in the paid course out there somewhere, but paid courses can save you so much time because they can give you incredible SOPs, like these over-the-shoulder type videos, and then it just filters out the crap. Like for every one piece of incredible advice you might find online, like there's no telling what the other 9 pieces of advice are going to be.
Yeah, most people's SEO journey starts here and they're like there and there and there and there and there and there and there, and they eventually get there, right? But a course lets you start here and just go straight.
Saves a lot of time.
Yeah, not all courses actually. Some of them are terrible.
Right.
I'm not giving credit to all courses, but you're right. For a lot of the time, you can find information for free, and you can go learn it. And when I learned SEO, there wasn't courses. I learned the hard way, with lots of time and lots of money and lots of passion and 90-hour weeks and lots of successes and lots of failures. And I learned the hard way, I call it the right way, but the hard way. A course allows you to bypass all that. The 90-day SEO course that we do is the SEO process that we use. So you can join and just follow the process that my team follows. And it covers everything. Some of it you're going to like optimizing site speed. Yeah, all right. You can go find some free articles on that. Link building. Yeah, you go find some free articles on that. Keyword and topic research. Yeah, you can go find some free articles on that. But putting first of all, understanding which are the right pieces of the puzzle, then understanding how to put that puzzle together in a logical and business-based process, that is where the value comes. And not every course does that. The better ones do. But that's where the value really does come, because yeah, you can go get it for free, but all right, now go build that into a sustainable business process that scales. Okay. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, so nice. So you've really built this like multifaceted business in a lot of ways. What do you think comes next for you? What's your next goal?
I'm just doing what I like doing. The link building business we launched at the start of June, but we started working on it in 2017. And but that's like getting really into the technical aspect of things. I really enjoyed that, and then building out processes and all the management and everything behind that. And every week, even now, we're facing challenges with that. For example, we cannot deal with order volume. We just can't, because to do it right takes a lot of manual resource. So I haven't actually announced it to my list or even really mentioned it in many places that we do it, because the orders that we're just getting now are keeping us going. But I'm really enjoying the technical aspect of that. I'm really enjoying the systems part of that. So in what I do in the future, I'm just following passions and doing what we're doing. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a journalist. That's what I wanted to be. Creating content, SEO, digital marketing, all the convergence of it. I'm just waking up and deciding which video game I want to play each day. I've been lucky to see financial success. I sold price comparison sites off. I've done very well with stocks and shares and various ventures and niche sites and everything else that we do. And it gives me the freedom to kind of not really need a goal to go anymore. I can just follow the passion, and what comes. And I think that's important as an entrepreneur. When you're doing something you're passionate about, I think that shines through in your output, whether it's your product, your service, your business ethics, your employee handbook, how you train, whatever you do, like that passion should shine through. So yeah, that's my plan. Follow my passion. I have no idea where that'll take me next.
Do you have an end goal? So, follow your passion until I get to X number and then I'm done or whatever.
In those terms, I'm done.
Nice.
I'm already done.
You hit the number.
I'm on like the third run of Mario. When you do like complete Mario the first time, and then the second time you do it and collect all the coins and go to all the secret bits that you didn't go to the first time. I'm on that run of the game. So yeah, I guess ultimately the biggest goal would be to buy back time. And it's not that I couldn't just do that right now, but like I say, I have the passion. It's an addiction, I'm a drug addict at the end of the day with entrepreneurship. So it would be nice at some point, I guess, to buy back time into the real world and perhaps only be a drug addict 2 days a week rather than 7. But I'm just enjoying it, so there's no goal or pressure to do it. It's a weird position to be in, I guess.
Yeah, talking about being like addicted to the work we do, I took an off day yesterday and I was just flat out bored.
Weirdo.
It's like, this doesn't feel right. Like, can I just check my emails once?
It's you got to go out there and do all the things. But if you've got that spirit and that drive, it's not a job. It's not like on off Monday to Friday 9 to 5. It's part of you. It's in you, like just like you're breathing every day, you know. So it's very hard as an entrepreneur to have an off day. Even if you don't do any work, it's usually still in here, like. So yeah, maybe that's my goal, right? To step away from that, but I think that's an unrealistic goal. I'll be honest.
That's pretty funny. But yeah, man, so everyone I talk to who does well with entrepreneurship, they pretty well all give me the same answer that you just gave. Well, I don't really have a plan to retire. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm already where I want to be. And I think this goes back to what I mentioned earlier about falling in love with the process of success and the process of solving people's needs. Like there is something that's so liberating about waking up in the morning and even if you're going to work 12 hours that day, getting out of bed and knowing I have the freedom to choose and every minute of work I put in improves someone else's life. And that's just game changing.
Yeah, if you run your business the right way, it elevates everyone. It elevates everyone that works for you. It elevates all of your customers, and ultimately, it elevates you. If you can reach that balance in business, it's absolutely fantastic. And I got a testimonials page on the blog, and there's thousands. You'll get bored before you even get 10% through them reading them, and seeing all that feedback and everything else from a blog that I just really do for fun and it's more of a hobby blog than a business blog. It's fantastic, and that elevates so many people. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. And even if I ever get to the point where I could take a week off mentally, it would still continue to elevate everyone. And I don't know. I guess there's freedom in knowing that you can do anything and you're going to find success. Like if I started from zero again tomorrow with the knowledge I have today, within 3 months I'll have built a successful business again, and it will be started pulling its first profits. So that's combined with the entrepreneurial spirit and already being essentially where I want to be. It's a powerful cocktail. Yeah, very powerful cocktail.
Awesome, man. I know your time's running short, so let me ask you some rapid fire questions, and we'll head out and enjoy the rest of our days in South America.
Okay, let's hit it.
Awesome. So, dude, what's one tool that you cannot live without?
If we're going to go into like an actual software tool, Ahrefs, Surfer SEO. Both of those tools save my sanity on many levels, help me make better decisions. Surfer I like because it just gives us quick wins every time we optimize with it. They're the ones that I couldn't live without right now, and certainly that my staff couldn't live without. They'd kill me if I took them away.
Dude, Ahrefs is a beast. I started using Surfer maybe 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And it's become integral in everything we do. So Brand Builders, we do pre-made sites, we can do customs, content, backlinks, all that. Every piece of content we do now runs through Surfer SEO. Yeah. Runs up my SaaS bill. Dude, it's killer. It's just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, the content editor's great. Like it just goes out, it specs it, hand it to the writer, and it's just perfect every time. So that's what we
done.
like. Yeah, it's worth every dollar.
It really is.
Yeah, and you can create a writing process based with Surfer and Trello in like an hour, and then it's just hiring writers and keeping them busy. That's it. So they're the two tools.
If you had to pick like one thing you're reading or consuming right now to better yourself or just for enjoyment, what would that be?
One thing, I don't know. I'm just always switched on. I'm consuming everything at every moment. I'm always listening. I'm not. I've got a little stack of books there that I kind of read, but I'm always listening. So I couldn't give you a specific thing. Just always be on, always eyes open, always listening, always consuming, always observing.
So what's one strategy that you've done this year that someone who's listening or watching can repeat and be successful with?
In terms of
covered
business,
several of these.
In terms of business and entrepreneurship, the one thing above anything else is get the basics right. Get the foundation pillars of business right. The customer journey, the customer service, everything. Like, people are often so distracted with complicated things, and like, you know, we're human. We like making things more complicated than they are, but you just cannot beat getting the very, very basics of business right. And if you get those basics right, you'll see success.
And I think one of those basics is keeping expenses low, like as low as possible.
Yeah, everything. Ultimately, the customer is king. Making sure you're providing quality of product, quality of service, speed of service, making sure you're available and accessible, making sure people are there to help, making sure, you know, if someone buys off you today, a year from now, give them a follow-up call. Those very basic principles, right? Just follow through on those, and expenses is especially if you're doing anything digital, you know, software as a service. Wow, whoever invented that wants a bullet, I'll tell you that. What happened to just buying a desktop app and using it, you know, like, you know, subscriptions get on top of it really easy. So we do an expenses review every 90 days to make sure that things aren't creeping through, you know. It's quite often you do your accounts at the end of the year and you're like, oh, fuck, I've been paying $100 a month for that. Not even logged into it for 2 years. And those kinds of expenses really stack up. So that's, review expenses every 90 days, especially if it's anything to do with digital.
Yeah. And then what is a great business that you think doesn't exist today?
Great business that doesn't exist today. I like Apple's approach to business, right? Apple don't invent anything new. They don't do anything new. But what they do is do things better. And they do that first through hardware design, but ultimately driven by understanding human emotion and the base psychology we spoke about earlier. For example, iPod, the original iPod. MP3 players like that existed for years. Years and years and years that technology was available. Apple come along, make billions of dollars. It's an MP3 player, just like all the MP3 players that existed before it, right? So combining that, taking that power of observation to look at what's already working, look at what's already successful, look at where you think, oh, there's opportunity in which to improve, either by simplifying the offering, the service or the product, increasing the value delivered by the product or the service, or on price. If you can do something in those areas, you're going to be successful. So a great business that doesn't exist today is a business that already exists, just improved upon.
Good advice. And then any closing thoughts as we end up here?
It's the power of observation. You cannot beat the power of observation, just sitting and watching, listening, learning. You know, this is the kind of business I'd like to build. Who else has built that kind of business? What did they do? Where did they fail? Where did they struggle? Where did they see success? Observe, speak, ask, read as much as you can, and try and remove all of your ego and bias. And there's no need for you to learn hard lessons, because throughout the course of humanity, we've learned those lessons collectively millions of times. So if you can just use the power of observation and put your ego aside, step back, that is the most underutilized superpower in the world, the superpower that you don't know you have in many cases. So they're my closing remarks. It's why I've been successful. It's why I've seen the opportunities I've seen. It's why I've been able to act. Power of observation, highly underutilized.
Awesome. Matt, thanks so much for getting on the interview with us.
Yeah.
And if someone wants to connect with you, wants to get your resources, where should they go?
Head over to my blog, matthewwoodward.co.uk. If you're struggling to increase search traffic right now, I've got a quick win SEO process on there. It's a 3-part video series, costs nothing to integrate, costs nothing to execute. It will teach you how to find all of your current available SEO opportunities, and then it will tell you the specific tasks you need to do for each opportunity and how to do those specific tasks. Everyone that runs through it sees good results. That's usually the best place to start. Any questions or comments, SEO, digital marketing, business, entrepreneurship, just reach out to me. I'm here to help. I'm here to answer your questions. Don't be shy to ask anything. Just reach out. I'm here.
Awesome. Thanks so much for getting on with me today.
Yeah, no, thanks for the time.